Before the season even kicks off, soccer fans are already making predictions. Who wins the league? Who qualifies for Europe? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
This episode is brought to you by PayPal. You had plans for the last days of summer. And back-to-school shopping has its own plans. School supplies, dorm essentials, your list doesn't stop. Neither does the spending. But when you pay in 4 with PayPal, you can pay over time. No interest, no fees. Check out with PayPal and get back to summer. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payin4. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
And welcome to today's episode of Howie the Podcast. It's Gav, and you are joining us for an episode which I think has been a bit of a shock to me. I wasn't expecting to have this conversation, and I wasn't expecting to chat so soon with my very good friend here, Elijah Michiels. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. Always a pleasure to be back. Yes.
Yes. What's it? I think you've got your hat-trick ball now. I think this might be your 3rd appearance on the pod.
Yes, my 3rd one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe my 4th one, maybe next time, like it's the same like Sadiki and Talbi the next day. So yeah.
Yeah, well, for people who can't remember maybe those conversations that me and you had in the past, Elijah, just give people a bit of an intro into who you are, what kind of thing you do, and basically why I would be coming to you to ask about specifically Belgian football.
So basically, I'm a football scout, football fan. I watch a lot of the Belgian leagues. Currently now a youth scout for Feyenoord Rotterdam recently. But mostly I spend my days watching the Belgian leagues. So yeah, trying to give the best information about new players that joining your club. So yeah.
Yeah. And today we are obviously here to chat a little bit about Jules Ahoka, who is somebody who I don't think many people have heard of, really.
No.
He's somebody who has only just broken into the first team at Royal Antwerp and has literally made a handful of first team appearances, but is obviously somebody who Sunderland have been watching very closely as a youth player, and he had a fantastic summer playing for DR Congo at the I think it has a new name now, but it's basically the Toulon tournament,
Yes,
which is a
correct.
youth tournament which England have played in many times in the past. But Jules Ahoka, I mean, he's somebody, like I said, not many people know a lot about, although I did see something from you on X where you were posting about him maybe a year ago, so maybe it appeared on your radar a little earlier than others, but surely you were a little bit shocked when you seen that Sunderland were in for him.
I was actually shocked because normally it will be his breakout season. Like he didn't play much last season, 2 games, but I mostly know him from DR Congo, the U20s. Like there was an AFCON U20, and he was very impressive. He played mostly at the center back, but also at the midfield, so 2 positions. So I was not really sure what is like his main position. And this season he started very strong, win against Beaver 2-1, and now a Kortrijk. But I was very shocked that even Sunderland didn't even say a loan back to Antwerp for 1 year. It's like directly going to the Sunderland squad. So I was very surprised with the deal. Maybe he's gonna get a loan move to another league, much higher league, but for a little experience, it's like a big risk.
Yeah, well, I've seen some reports, and again, we don't know this to be categorically true, but I've seen a few reports where even the I think this is in the Belgian press, they've said that he would be coming to Sunderland basically as Granit Xhaka's backup in that sort of
Yeah.
holding position in our midfield. So it's quite a step up, but obviously Sunderland have seen enough in his youth career already and internationally and stuff to say we need to get him now, because in a year or so he's going to be on everybody's radar, and this
Yeah,
guy's going to
true.
blow up.
I mean, for backup role, I mean, like, also Sunderland is playing Europe this season, so maybe that's also why for the depth. But for the backup role, I see it all right. He can play as a 6, can play as a 8 also, but I see him more like a box-to-box. He's a little bit like a Sadiki type, but Sadiki is more better on the ball. But he has a physical that presence that I really like. Also, like duels, very important. But I see him more next to a Xhaka than being like a lone 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, what are the standout qualities that you think might have convinced Sunderland to spend around 10 million euros on a player with, like say, so little senior experience? What really makes him stand out?
I think his standout is definitely the defensive part in the game. His tackles, interceptions, his timing well. Also, I really like him being composed also. At Antwerp, very aggressive in duels that I think could be a risk when he's not too aggressive. But the main standout is definitely his work rates. He has long legs in the midfield, like Amadou Onana, a young Amadou Onana, long legs. Defensively, also very strong. So I think defensively is like his main part, but offensively, like on the ball, like dragging the ball, progressive is not. I didn't see a lot of him at Antwerp, so he was doing more
Mm,
the dirty stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what impressed you the most about him, based on what you have seen, and kind of, you did mention before that he appeared on your radar playing in the under-20s
Mm.
AFCON.
I
So I
think
mean, what was it that made him stand out?
I think his standout is like he can play as a center back, but also like play as a midfield and how he progress with the ball. I really like when he was playing at the U20, but at Antwerp I didn't see a lot. But what stands me out is definitely he's like playing like very mature for his age. Very mature that like somebody that comes straight from Africa to Belgium playing like that. Like it's like he was in the league for 4 or 5 years. He knows what he's doing. And that's what I really like. He's not the type of player that takes risk. He knows he's more like a careful player,
Mm,
being very, very composed on the ball. No, his scanning behavior is very good. That was really stand out like for me, his maturity.
mm, mm. I mean, you mentioned there about him playing central defence, and
Yeah.
he's kind of moved around the pitch. What impact has moving into defensive midfield had on his career, do you think? Do you think that's what brought him onto the radar? The fact that he's moved into midfield, and I mean, you
Yeah, I think
mentioned the
so.
size of the guy.
Mhm.
I think he's 6'5", so
Yeah,
obviously you think defender, but is it that move into midfield which just probably elevated his potential in the eyes of many?
I think because of his midfield that I think is on the radar, but I think as a center back, he's not that type of center back, like a
Right.
modern center back in these days. I think it's like more as a midfield, and I think in that radar is very better at a midfielder.
Yeah.
I think if it was a center back, he would struggle a lot because he doesn't have that quickness, that recovery pace as a center back. So
Right. Right.
I think maybe center back because of the U20, because of his height maybe, but I think his main position will be definitely like a midfield position.
Yeah. So more like a 6 or an 8. Like I said,
Right.
Xhaka. Xhaka is a 6. You
Yeah.
mentioned Noah Siddiqui. Siddiqui actually in pre-season for Sunderland, when Granit Xhaka wasn't available, played a little bit deeper at times and looked quite good there. But I mean, is he versatile? What would you say his best sort of role is in that
I
midfield?
think definitely more like a 8, somebody like next to Xhaka that do the dirty stuff, like running everywhere, like a box to box. I think
Mm.
as a 6, he will be more insecure and it will take more responsibility of him. And I think that will be more the struggle. I think somebody next to him will be better than a lone 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think he could still fill in at centre back if Sunderland needed him there? Like, let's say it's late in the game and maybe we're under the cosh and we need to throw another body in there. Do you think he could do a
I
job?
think he can play if like imagine Sunderland switch to a back 5, he can play there, but I think like in a back 4, I think no more. No.
Mm, mm. I mean, I mentioned his height. Does he
Yeah.
does he wear that height? Does he
Yeah.
fill out? Is he a physical player? Is he somebody
Yeah,
who's
he's a very
strong and
physical player. He loves I think I think I didn't saw a stat, but I think he's like in the top 5 like most duels already in the Belgium league. So that shows already that he's using his physicality and his athletic also very good. Well, I always love midfielders with long legs and they use them. You can see the tackles and behind,
Yeah.
that's something I'm always really impressed with.
Yeah. To be
Mhm.
fair, we don't have anybody like that at the minute,
Mhm.
I don't think. I would say we've got quite a physical team, but I know exactly what you mean. I think in our past, we've not had too many midfield players with those big, long legs.
Mhm.
Some of the Sunderland fans listening to this will probably think, God, they were awful. But
Mhm.
I think of maybe Alfred and played for us once. He was that type of midfield player. Dixon the two, somebody who was big, strong, but like you say,
Mhm.
used their frame well. I think he actually adds something to Sunderland's midfield, which is probably where they've looked at his profile and gone, actually, no, even though he's young, we want to bring him on. He's very different to what we have. And, that could well translate well into Premier League football because I think you mentioned Onana, who obviously has been in the Premier League for a few years now, as somebody
Mhm.
who is kind of that midfield player. Those players do tend to translate quite well into Premier League football, don't they?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, I think, like, for example, I said about Sadiki in the past that he can adapt
Mm.
really quick. I think if he have a good feeling and for imagine he have a first good game, I think it will continue. And adaptability, like I said, in the Belgium league, he played like a mature one that plays for 2, 3 years. And I think if he can adapt really quick, it can be a very special player. But it all depends on time and also trusting him also. But if he can adapt really quick in the Belgium league at 2 appearances, playing like somebody in the midfield, like a leader, I can see him adapting also really quick in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah. How comfortable is he at receiving the ball under pressure? Is he someone Sunderland can trust to take the ball from the central defenders on the half turn and kind of zip it out
I
wide? Because
mean,
that seems to be the way we play from into the
yes.
midfield.
I mean, he can do that, but he's not like somebody that keep asking the ball, like he
Right.
rotates it with another midfielder, but he's very comfortable on the ball. I think also because he played as a center back at his youth, that he can also progress the ball well, but he doesn't do that often, like really much.
Hmm.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. How good is he defensively then? In
I
terms
think
of positioning, anticipation, winning the ball rather than simply tackling?
well, his anticipation is very impressively very good. Also, his timing, aerial is very also very important. Like in set pieces, he's very active. That's also one thing. But the one thing that I really concerned that he's sometimes too much aggressive on his tackles, like a rough
Hmm.
tackle. And I think if you do that in the Premier League, you can easily catch up some yellow cards. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, he's quite young, isn't he? And he's still
Mm,
learning. So these are things that come with experience, I guess, and maybe playing alongside players like Granit Xhaka,
mm,
Granit Xhaka earlier in his career was known for picking up yellow cards and being
yes,
quite
yes.
rash. And now you look at Granit Xhaka, who barely gets carded, and you just think, well, with experience, sometimes really good players, they just learn and they learn off other players around them, right? Other than the fact that you mentioned there, maybe he's a little bit too aggressive sometimes. Are there any other obvious weaknesses in his game that you could point out?
I think also we also saw it at DR Congo U23 as like his long-term speed, like in long distances, very weak. Like when he was playing at center back, his wide channels was a little bit concerning. So I think long distance speeds is like one of his weakness. I mean, he can recover quick, but imagine if it's like he's playing a little bit out wide against a fast winger. I think he can be already, lost track already.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I mentioned before that he's been specifically referred to as a sort of Xhaka protege, long-term replacement. I
Mhm.
mean, other than the obvious positional similarities, kind of playing in the sixth position or in the eighth position or
Mhm.
whatever, Granit Xhaka brings a lot of leadership to Sunderland's team,
Yes.
and that quality is probably what makes him quite unique. Like, have you heard anything about what he's like on the pitch in terms of being a big character, somebody who isn't afraid to let the voice go, isn't afraid to tell teammates what to do? Like, is that quality in him? Do you know anything about that?
I don't really sure. I never heard about him speaking about leadership or like he's when I watch him, I think some Antwerp fans saying that he's very loud, vocal. Like when they're in the stadium, they know that he's speaking lots. Also because there's a lot of French people speakers, in the team.
Right.
I think that he can communicate well. So also at Sunderland, there are a lot of French speakers, I think. Also, the coach speaks French, so I think that also helps him. I think leadership, I don't know yet, but he's very like a vocal person. Like he likes to talk, on the pitch. Not a quiet one.
Right. Well, we'll quickly jump for a break, and then when we come back, we'll get into a few more questions, which I've got for Elijah about Jules Ahoka. So we will see you after these ads.
Before the season even kicks off, soccer fans are already making predictions. Who wins the league? Who qualifies for Europe? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you were the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
This episode is brought to you by PayPal. You had plans for the last days of summer. And back-to-school shopping has its own plans. School supplies, dorm essentials, your list doesn't stop. Neither does the spending. But when you pay in full with PayPal, you can pay over time. No interest, no fees. Check out with PayPal and get back to summer. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payinfor. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Welcome back to Howie the podcast, and we'll get back into it, Elijah, and talk a little more about Jules Ahoka, who, for anybody just joining us midway through, which would be a bit strange, but regardless, just to bring you up to speed, looks like he's about to sign for Sunderland from Royal Antwerp. 10 million euros is the quoted fee. Somebody who hasn't played a great amount of senior football, so quite a lot of people are thinking, what's going on here? Like, where did they pluck this guy from? And we've seen that in the past with this regime, and it's more often than not worked out well for us. But let's talk a little bit about his reputation specifically in Belgium, because obviously that's where he's made his mark.
Mm-hmm.
How highly is he regarded within Belgian football? Has there been a feeling for some time that Antwerp had a major talent on their hands?
I mean, Antwerp fans are fuming that tell me they want it more but also because Antwerp needs money. So that's why they take it. But
so maybe Sunderland have been a little bit opportunistic here and seen an opportunity. Yes. We did this with Elijah Michiels when So Shaw were in financial trouble, and there was a similar thing there. We plucked their best young talent, and I think it's quite ruthless, but it's a way that, it's kind of the way things go, right?
It's true, and that's why Antwerp fans are fuming, because they know they will get the same fee like Arthur Vermeeren and other players that left Antwerp. So yeah, they are fuming. Also, I think if they were not in financial problems, I think Antwerp will reject it immediately and wait till the end of the next summer. So also they are lucky. They need the money, they need the cash, because also they don't have a lot of players also. That's why he's more starting. But I think if Antwerp didn't have financial problems, he will be not starting the 2 games, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, so he's maybe been given an opportunity because they kind of have no choice but to give an opportunity to him, I guess.
True, because they are playing with all their youth teams and free agents that they also signed. They didn't even sign somebody with official money because they have really financial struggles.
Right. I mean, is that why the breakthroughs happened so quickly then? Was he already pushing hard for a first team place last season, or like has his development accelerated dramatically. Like, aside from the fact they're kind of in a bit of financial trouble, obviously this is a player they rate highly, or they still wouldn't trust him, right?
I mean, it's hard to say that I trust him, but if they have financial problems, yeah, then you have to give him a chance. And last season he played a little bit, but it was not really like, whoa, he's gonna start next season. He's fantastic, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's just more because of financial problems, and you see they are happy. And preseason he did well, so that's why also he's starting. And they didn't sign or try to look for somebody when they have him.
Yeah. You mentioned Andre Onana. Was it Andre Onana?
Yes, Andre, yes.
Yeah, Andre Onana, who you mentioned before, somebody who is quite similar to. Are there any other players, Belgian league players or Premier League players, past or present, for whom you would say, oh, he's quite like him. They're very similar.
It's somebody in my mind, but it's not like really similar. But defensively, also a little bit more. Victor Wanyama, when he was at Southampton.
Okay.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
somebody like him.
Yes, because he was kind of like a defensive shield, not
Yes.
particularly quick, but
Yes.
very adept at kind of
Mhm.
filling in, sometimes as a third central defender when they were under the cosh a little bit, but somebody whose reputation grew massively, and he got quite a big move, didn't he, to Spurs? I guess
Actually.
that's probably long term what Sunderland are
Mhm.
looking at here. We're kind of looking at developing him over maybe 18 months to 2 years, and eventually, hopefully, he'll be a first team player at Sunderland, and somebody that bigger clubs will look at as, oh, that
Mhm.
guy at Sunderland, we need to buy him. And like, do you think that's kind of the progression from here for him? Do you
Yes.
see him maybe?
Mhm.
I guess the question I'm asking is just what say is his ceiling? Like, how far do you see him going?
I think his seeding, it's very hard, but I think if he's doing good, I think maybe a mid-table Premier League, because he has at that Premier League level already. So I think like a mid-table Premier League. If it doesn't work, I see him top 5, maybe in the League 1. That's maybe
Right.
his side, but his high ceiling, I think mostly mid-table Premier League or League 1. That's my
Yeah.
take. It all depends on how he willing gonna adapt and
Yeah.
how quick it is. Like maybe development, like maybe Sunderland will not even use him for 6-7 games. So yeah.
Yeah, because we've got, obviously, you mentioned
Mhm.
before, we've got European football, so there will be opportunities for all players to kind of get the chance in big games, and
Mhm.
that's obviously very appealing to a player. But you know, from our perspective, I think he, what my hope is that in sort of 18 months to 2 years, I can speak to you and say, remember when we spoke about Jules Ahoka? Like, look at
Yes.
him now, kind of thing. And I think Sunderland in general are quite willing to give young players opportunities. Like, we probably don't see what a handful of first team appearances is a barrier. We look at this kid and we're going, it is, with a bit of, with a bit of maturing, with a good
Mhm.
training, being around more experienced players, as I've mentioned before. Now, very quickly he could become a part of our team. Like, we've seen it with, you mentioned Noah Siddiqui. He's a great
Yeah.
example. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was much further along in his development than
True.
Ahoka is at this stage, but still, I think Sunderland got Noah Siddiqui because we were maybe willing to go that little bit further and secure him before some other clubs were. Maybe they were looking at him and thinking he maybe needs another year before we're willing to part with that kind of money. Like, 10 million euros seems like quite a lot of money. I mean, in the grand scheme of things in Premier League,
True.
spending, it's not a great amount of money, but still quite a lot of money. But in a year or two, we could be talking about somebody worth, in excess of 30, 40, 50 million
True.
if, he takes his chance, right? And will people back in Belgium, will Antwerp fans, and he said they're furious with the fact that the sales occurring, but do you think they will still be looking at this with a bit of pride, as in like that, we developed this kid, he came through our system? Like, how do you think he'll be viewed?
I mean, I talked a lot about Antwerp fans and about the deal, and they were like fuming, but also like taking a risk. Like, okay, it's 10 million. Maybe he had two good games, and then he was all bad. They were also hoping that he's gonna get a loan back for 1 year because they need him more than Sunderland need them eventually. But Antwerp fans really thought they will get more than 10 million when they hear the news. Also, they were happy that they at least get the money or something. Um, the fact that it's 10 million and not the player that, because they know they cannot reintegrate another transfer because it goes all to the club, so they don't get a backup on him. So it will be another
Right,
youth
yeah.
player. So that's why they're also fuming. And yeah,
Hmm, hmm. I mean, if you had to give Sunderland supporters one reason to be excited and one reason to be relatively cautious about this signing, what would they be?
I mean, he will be still raw, like very raw, but give him patience and give him trust. He will look sloppy in the beginning or looking rushy, but I still believe that he can get some good things at Sunderland. Maybe as a backup, like in the 70th minute to do all the dirty stuff, or starting at the European stages. But just give him time. I know it will be hard to him to adapt because if he playing 2-3 games, you think like 10 million waste of money. But I still believe that he can just reach top.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know last time you were on, I think I asked you for one recommendation of a player playing in the Belgian league who Sunderland might look at, down the line as somebody to sign, and that was Promise David, and he's just showed up, hasn't he, at
Yeah.
Brighton? Which when I
Mhm.
saw that, I thought of you, and I thought of that conversation because I thought, oh man, maybe that would. But then there is that link, isn't there, between
Yeah, it's
Brighton
true.
and USG? I think so. Like, they're probably always going to get first
It's a
dibs on him.
It's a little bit a dirty deal that they made, but it's football, it's
Yeah.
a lot of
Do you think
things.
he'll do well? Just while we're on the subject of Promise David, do you think he'll do well at Brighton?
Yeah, I think you do well. It's like a physical type of play that Premier League. It's a different type of. It's like a Danny Welbeck, but younger version for them.
Mm.
So yeah,
So now he's out of the Belgian league. Who else should we be looking at? Let's think of maybe 3 players, young players with good potential that you could maybe see playing for Sunderland or another Premier League club down the line.
I would say first of all, Ambros from Anderlecht, the midfielder. I think he can go to the Premier League.
What
My
kind of
second
player is
one,
he?
he's like a 10-8.
Okay.
Like a similar, also very good shooting abilities, playmaking, very good, very good. My next one in the Belgium league is from Club Brugge, but he was already linked. So I was gonna say Ordonez, but he's going to Aston Villa apparently.
Okay.
Uh, I think Tresoldi, the striker from Club Brugge, could be.
Who did he play Tresoldi? I'm just going to Google that.
He played at Hanover.
Right. I don't know why I know that name. It feels like
Yeah.
it stands out to me. Where do I know that name from? Anyways, but yeah, Club Brugge, actually, that's obviously where we got Shamson Talby from.
Yes.
Zolis has just gone to Arsenal and straight into their team. And like he wasn't even on my radar as like and then I look at these numbers and I think, geez, no wonder he showed up at Arsenal.
Yeah, the numbers are great. He was linked with very big teams. I was surprised even that the fee is just 40 million.
Mm.
Like
It's crazy, really, because Belgium's becoming. I actually think there seems to be more emerging talent in the Belgian league than there is now in the Eredivisie, right? I think so, anyways. I don't see as many players coming across from the Netherlands as I do Belgium now. It's almost viewed as like outside of the French league. It's almost viewed as the place to go for if you're a Premier League club or even a Ligue 1 club to go and try and get yourself a bargain.
Yes, true, but also because the Belgium league is like a selling competition. Like you see a lot of players going and going and going, like for 1 year, and also they give a lot of youth. Like Caracas was playing like 2 years already, and it was when he was 16, 17, debut at Genk, now leaving for 35 million to Dortmund, and now they have another one, young talent. So it's keep going.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, and I think it's probably worth fans of all clubs, but especially Sunderland, given this is a Sunderland podcast, maybe keeping one eye on just kind of who stands out in Belgium over the next, certainly before January, because it's obviously somewhere we're happy to go. I think now that since we entered the Premier League, we've signed Chemson Talby, Noah Sadiki, Nilson Angulo, and now Ahoka. So that would be 4 players from that league, and it's obviously somewhere we're happy to dip in and take a look. So I think it's probably worth, isn't it, Sunderland fans keeping a close eye on what's going on over there.
I mean, the Belgian league is always nice. some bad referee decisions, but it's all good there. It's funny to
Who-
watch.
Who should people? Who do you recommend people watch? If you want to watch a club where you're like Sunderland will probably look to take players from that club, who should we be watching?
Club Brugge, Union, and Anderlecht. Those
Yeah,
teams.
obviously
those
the
three
big
teams.
guys.
Yeah, like Ghent or Genk, these teams are not like any good players anymore. Like,
Well,
they just,
we signed a player from Ghent 2-3 years ago, Ahmed Abdullahi, and he was he was never fit enough to play
Yeah.
for us, and we've only just got rid. Yeah,
he signed it for 1 million, and I was like looking at him like on Transfermarkt, but I never saw him. Like, he was playing like
Yeah.
the U21s, so
yeah. So hopefully this guy is he does a little bit better than maybe he did. But let's see. Hopefully next time we speak, mate, we're waxing lyrical about somebody else from the Belgian league. But just need to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure once again.
thank
Well
you very
done for
much.
picking up your Howie the Podcast hat-trick ball. And I'm sure it won't be too long before we're chatting again.
No, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you to our listeners. We've got plenty coming up this week as we build up to the Fulham game. And if you want to relive the Ipswich game, we've got the reaction pod, which I did with the guys at full time. We had Sunday Supplement, which Martin and Andrew did with James Copley from the Sunderland Echo. So there's plenty to keep you entertained over the next couple of days. Lots of people are really surprised at looking at our beautiful faces for the first time now we're on YouTube and saying, I didn't expect you to look like that. I think more people have been shocked by Andrew's appearance than anybody. So please do get caught up on all of our YouTube content. Get subscribed on the Howie the Podcast YouTube channel. And we are at Roker Report on every other social media platform. Just want to say thank you again, Elijah. Thanks a lot, mate. If people want to keep up with your social media, where do they find you? Just because obviously I know you drop little nuggets about players through the season.
You can always find me on Twitter, Elijah Kaneki. That's where I post it. Now it's a little bit limited because of my work, but you can always see my old reports about players.
That's it, yeah. If people had went back a year, they would have seen your reports about Jules Ahoka, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, mate. Thanks to the listeners. Catch you on the next one.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like
Touchdown!
because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. And it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.
Booking.com is the easiest way. From a day surrounded by noise to a stay surrounded by nature. That's nice. Go on, book it. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.